Hi and hello, watch fans, and welcome to another edition of the Real Time Show with me, your friendly neighborhood watchmaker, Rob Nuds. I am joined outside the Villa Sarasan by our good friend Hakeem El Kadiri of Elka Watches, a friend of the Real Time Show for years now, and a great friend of our dearly departed Alon Ben Joseph. He's not dead, he's just back in Amsterdam, thank God. How are you, Hakeem?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
It's been busy, right? 8:30 till 8 every day?
It was exhausting, so I'm from the first day to today, so yeah, I'm on my knees.
You are one of the people that's been sustaining us all through this troubling's not the word, trying week by providing the Real Time Show guests with whiskey, your very own whiskey, Loch Lat, which is a Swiss single malt whiskey from just down the road. Tell us all about it.
So in fact, I had one night a friend coming from Belgium, and he brought me a bottle of whiskey, a Belgian whiskey that had something like 3 years old, and I was laughing looking at the bottle because I was not expecting drinking a Belgian whiskey on the hand. So I drank it, and I find it really, really interesting, really good. And I said, okay. And the next morning I woke up and I said, okay, so if they can do a whiskey, I will try doing my own whiskey.
Yeah.
And what I did, so I had no idea about what was in the whiskey and how manufacturing a whiskey. And then I was just trying to find the way. And so I think at the end, after 3 years, I mean, it has a kind of interesting taste.
I love it. I didn't have any until last night, and I enjoyed a nip while editing the podcast that we'd recorded that day. And I like Scottish whiskey. I like single malts and mostly like West Island stuff, but I'm not too much of a snob, to be fair. I mean, I've drunk out of a child's shoe, so I'm not exactly the classiest person in the world. Don't ask how that came about. But this whiskey is absolutely superb. It really does stand toe-to-toe with some of the finest whiskies I've ever drunk in terms of its interest and complexity. And everybody has commented very favourably on it. And I believe that you've actually had requests at your watch stand for your whiskey from people who have been supping it in the glass igloo. So who knows, maybe in 5 years' time you'll have abandoned the watches and gone full-time into booze.
You never know. Or something else, something, I mean, different. So
you wouldn't be the first colleague we've lost to booze, but you would be the first that we've lost in this way, which is much better than the other way. So how were the watches received themselves? Because, of course, you make Elka watches. They are beautiful watches, known for their edge-to-edge sapphire crystals and gorgeous dial designs. Tell me, what's been going on?
So, in fact, I think the collection plays really well. And I came this year with a new model, which is the one that I'm showing you now. Okay, it's called the Timepiece. Or the Time 4-piece. And I have on it, it's a rephrase of the human rights that I wanted to have in a more poetical way. And so I printed it on the dial in gold color. In Elvish font.
Oh, it is in Elvish.
Yeah,
it looks like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. I mean, that could be something because I mean, I liked the Tolkien environment, and also what I found on it is really, I mean, it was kind of war between all the different ethnies in the book, and they were fighting to get the peace. And today, I think we are living in a period which is really crazy and becoming really crazy. And so, I mean, that's my small, how do you say that? My small testimonial about peace. So just want to have something on the dial, something delicate, something that you wear on you, that recall you, I mean, that we have to protect the earth, protect ourselves, protect everything. So
I can almost hear Annie Lennox emanating from this watch. It does look just like a prop from Middle Earth, and it's gorgeous. I mean, the color choices are superb. And around the outside, it says, "From the mountains to the oceans, may the language of peace echo through every soul." It's touching, Hakeem. It's very nice.
thank you.
I mean, one of the greatest things about your watches is the execution, the finishing, the lovely little sharp, polished angle on the inside of the lugs. It's like an angular lyre lug almost. It's a gorgeous touch. And then the flaring of the lugs when you look at the watch in profile down towards the wrist, stunningly done. And this choice of, I've got sunglasses on, sorry, rose gold PVD.
It's a rose gold PVD. Yes.
And you've got a greenish, bluish style.
Yeah, it's kind of
teal
color.
Yeah. And then the lovely gold print. It's like gilt printing almost, and then gold hands to go along with it. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous watch. And then you screw down case back with the classic Elka script logo in the middle of it. What's the retail price on something like that?
So this one is 1,790 Swiss franc.
How's business going?
So, okay, so it was really interesting. So the brand is brand new, and then so I'm just increasing the numbers of pieces. So it's not, tremendous today. The problem will be, the few next days or months, because so the last period I was really well selling in USA.
Okay.
I don't know, how that will going to end, but.
Yeah, we've touched on the tariffs with one or two brands that have been through the glass igloo, obviously, because it is on everyone's mind at the moment. It's a huge moment in global trade history, and we don't know how it's going to shake out. And given the fact that the US is, for every brand I've spoken to, unsurprisingly perhaps, the biggest and the most important, and that's never more true than it is for independent brands, because the Americans seem very willing to take a chance on something new. They seem to have a culture that covets having something that others don't yet know about, which is quite the opposite of many watch buying cultures that like to have exactly something someone will have seen before and recognize. It's the power of Rolex, right? It's a mark of success. Everybody, well, not everybody, but the vast majority of people know what a Rolex is and what it stands for, even more so than something extremely high-end and complicated like a Grunefeld or an F. Pigeon. These things fly under the radar in comparison. So the independents are really, quaking in their boots at the possibility of having 30% or 20% outside of Switzerland mostly slapped on their wares instantly. Have you thought about what you might do to mitigate that if it does stick?
For the time being, I have no idea.
Okay, yeah, it's going to be some interesting discussions. What we might see is the industry banding together and maybe creating a small Swiss haven in US territory. We'll send over the massive Swiss army, the Swiss army that, with all their nukes and tanks and manpower, and just carve out a small piece of Georgia for our own, and we'll call it Little Europe. That might work. I'm kidding, of course. We are not going to invade the United States as a watch industry. That would be a terrible, terrible idea. So, what's the reception been like to this piece when you're showing it to people on the stand? Because I imagine they haven't seen anything quite like it.
No, it's true. They were all surprised by the font, the calligraphy that I used. So they had in mind something else, something like, they were thinking about the movie, and they were not expecting something like this. And that's the first time they see something like this. So it was really well accepted by the people coming here. And I think it was the first watch they took on my booth. Even, after that, so I have a new collection also of really puristic dials. So a green one, a red one. That I try to work the colors, to have a mix of different colors, not colors but gradient of green or gradient of red, or the watch that I did also in collaboration with my whiskey, the Lokla, as we said before. So I had a series of 25 pieces, so it was a limited edition of the Lokla for Elka, cross Elka collaboration. And it is something that really pleased, something that's really pop-ups also on my booth. And it's also an offer that no one has also, around. So I think so the collection please, not to everyone, of course. And this is really nice for me. It is something that I really like, that either you like or you dislike. And that is, I think, also something that is a kind of a strength. So you don't have everyone liking or average liking the pieces, but it's really you like or you dislike. And that's something which is positive for me.
I think what you've done very well is create a very eye-catching piece. And I suppose many brands would like to think that they could say the same, but it isn't really true in a lot of cases. There's a lot of great products out there, especially from smaller independents, well-made watches, thoughtfully designed, but often inspired by a lot of what's currently around. And what you've done is take some forms and ideas that aren't that common, certainly not these days. And I think you've put these elements together in a way that's never really been done, especially with your bare dials that are numeral-less and have this fume. It's a domed dial with a sunray finish and a fume edge to it. So it has a great deal of depth and intrigue. When you look at it, it shifts color and it can catch your eye from across a room because a flash of red or a flash of orange, like the Locla one that you did, is a rich shade of amber, really, to echo the whiskey. Right. It's a beautiful piece. And in addition to that, you have curved hands, which is something that we saw in the 60s, maybe a little bit more often, maybe the 70s as well, but less so now. And it's not easy to have curved hands. The tolerances of the hand fitting are unforgiving, to say the least. And you also have this curved crystal. So you have all of these curves sitting in a case that itself, while round, does have these beautiful angular lugs almost with a curve on the side to pull it all together. The exterior echoes the interior very well, and the whole watch feels like a fully realized concept piece, which, as you say, is obviously not going to be a vanilla piece. It's either going to be something someone falls for or something somebody just can't get on board with. But that's the point, really. You create that discussion. And I think opinions are extremely valuable in the industry. I was actually having a discussion with another journalist last night about the importance of informed people sharing their opinions with justification. So sometimes you find on major blogs, commenters will say, oh, we don't want to hear what you think, we just want to hear the specs. And I think that's pointless. Go to the website, sign up for the press releases if you want the specs. You want your industry insiders to tell you what they think, either because you'll find yourself in agreement with them and you'll feel emboldened by that, oh, I see what this expert sees, or perhaps even more importantly, you'll disagree with them. And then you will justify your disagreements and further establish what it is that you look for in a watch. And if you're lucky enough to have those opinions communicated to you directly in an event like this, you can take them on board as well and say, okay, that's an interesting perspective that is completely outside of my frame of thinking. Maybe I can implement some things from that in the future. You're never going to make a watch that everybody is going to like, but I suppose it is possible to make some watches that more people like than not, shall we say. Have you heard any feedback that has really stuck with you and made you think, okay, yeah, maybe the crown could be a bit bigger?
So, you have every day someone saying, okay, if you have done, the hand maybe with the pointer in red, I would buy it. So fantastic. Okay, but I have one collection, a small collection, so I don't want now to listen to everything. But sometimes, of course, I'm listening, I'm hearing. So you can't change everything on one coup de baguette magique, as we said in France.
With a wave of a magic wand.
Yeah, exactly. So you can't do that. But after that, so you have really to listen to people, and then probably, if you hear it again and it again and again. So frankly, you have probably to think about doing that change or to that move. So as you saw, my next product that I will launch in 2-3 months, something like this, that is something that is coming from the market, because I heard a lot of people talking about that and telling me that what you have to do, and so then I really listen to the market and I will launch it in 2-3 months. So you saw the product, and I guess, our auditors are going to see it in 2-3 months.
Exciting times. Will you be present at Geneva Watch Days?
Or probably yes, yeah.
And I guess we'll be able to see it in person then?
Yes, certainly.
Excellent stuff. So we look forward to that. And in the meantime, we wish you the greatest of success with Elka and with your whiskey endeavour. And I hope that you have a lovely end to an exciting fair. Thanks again.
Thank you very much.
Now let's discuss the watches released by our good friend Hakim El Kadiri, who was showing in Villa Sarasan downstairs in one of the more exciting areas, I would say, across the way from Awake, just next to Denison and De Heike in the corner. What do you have to say about Hakeem's latest endeavors?
I am not a fan of PVD and DLC. If you listen to the show, you know this. But I have to admit, Hakeem's newest watch was a gold-plated watch with a beautiful script on the dial. I didn't want to love it, but I have to admit it looks stunning. So I said, Hakeem, when you have the ability, make a real gold watch. I think he's doing a tremendous job. He's taking it nice and slow. I obviously love his watches very much because I co-designed several with him. He showed me the prototype of our next chapter. So I am very bullish on both Hakeem and the brand. I like what he's doing, and his next chapter is a good one. I can't say more, Rob. What did you think?
We know that Frodo likes his jewelry, right? Big fan of the One Ring, yeah. Doesn't wear a watch. Have you ever noticed that in Lord of the Rings? They don't wear watches. None of them. That would be a fun article, actually, trying to pair a watch with each character from Lord of the Rings. And I guess this would end up on Legolas's wrist more than it would on Frodo's, because this Elvish script in English, written around the outside of the dial, in every way, this should not work. In every way, this should be like absolutely crap. But somehow, it just looks stunningly beautiful. It really does look elegant. It fits the canvas so perfectly. Even I'm charmed by the PVD gold case because, just like you, I'm not a fan of coatings. I don't mind a bit of DLC with a military style watch. Maybe that's okay. But yeah, PVD gold, no, not for me. Solid gold, yeah, love it. And this would be even better in solid gold, of course. But we have this message which says, "From the mountains to the oceans, may the language of peace echo through every soul," which is a very nice message, of course. I don't think anybody would object to that message. And it's not a bad thing to carry around on your wrist. But Hakeem's got an even better way of instilling peace within someone's soul than this watch. And that's his Lochlat whiskey, which he kindly supplied us with so we could loosen the tongues of our guests whenever they were feeling a little bit nervous or on edge or put upon because of our incisive line of questioning. And he's got a watch that goes with the whiskey as well, which has a beautiful, how would I describe it? Umber dial, I guess, like a beautiful, beautiful orange-brown degradé effect on a otherwise undecorated dial, no numbers. It does have the word mark in the middle of the display, but otherwise it is just pure and simple. And I adore it. I love Hakeem. Of course, he's a great dude. And these watches are really, I think, finding their feet. And he's really getting the most out of what is a simple but extremely refined canvas.
Of course, how can I forget the generosity of this delicious whiskey that the majority of our guests drank in the igloo. Thank you, Hakeem, for the gifts, because he put our logo on there as well. So generous. And how can I not love the dial? Because I designed the first initial Essence dial, the blue version, the collab we did. And he continued that project by resonating as if you're looking through your whiskey glass. And that's the watch he paired with the whiskey, also indeed stunning.
Maybe the next edition is going to have the word mark in Comic Sans, because that's what writing looks like when you've had a few too many glasses of Lochlat.
Yeah, good one.
All right, great. Well, you know what? We need to get Hakeem back on the show because must have been a year or so now since we spoke to him at length on air. So we'll do that, and maybe we'll get him to bring another one of those bottles along with him for the fun.